Welcome back, YouTube. Bo Alexander, Adapt Fitness, Dallas, Texas. And today we're gonna take you through a push day focused on growing pecs and more specifically kind of developing the upper pec musculature. So you're gonna see a lot of incline work, a lot of really just chest work in general, but emphasizing a lot of incline work at the very beginning, some flat pressing, some dips, and then a little bit of shoulders and arm accessory movements. Let's get into it. The big focus when executing this fly motion is really kind of what your shoulders are doing in a way. So trying to think about pinching the shoulder blades in that retracted position, eccentrically loading the pecs, getting them into a good healthy lengthened position, and then thinking about driving not your hands together, but your biceps together. That'll change the range of motion quite a bit. Probably gain about 15 to 20% more actual range of motion when you think about taking your bicep across from your body as opposed to the arms, which kind of cuts you off there as opposed to getting here in that position and getting that pec into a full contraction. Chest is still a little sore. Last upper body day was a lot of chest work, and that was just Saturday. Today, Tuesday, but flipping the order a little bit just so we can train chest again with Nick on Friday and switch our posterior chain day to Saturday. Kind of easing into it, a little bit more warm-up sets, but overall keeping things still kind of in the same intensity range. So there you'll see a little bit of a difference in, as I'm approaching failure, not necessarily able to keep the bicep kind of converging concept. So maybe a little bit more arms coming together, fists coming together, but that's really just a result of not being able to finish in that full contracted position. I'd say that's pretty good for the pec flies. So we're gonna move on to the incline. Tell me why. He was really just being polite and hoping you said no, but we have a last set here, so dropping the weight down. Weight-wise, a little lighter than last week, but understandably with the frequency change.
So so you can make it boy or girl, and it'll pull all the muscles. You can go up and down layers. So then you can figure out exactly which muscle is.
Okay, so moving on to the flat press now. I like to use this foam roller setup to increase the range of motion for the pecs to be able to stretch, keep the shoulders kind of able to mobilize around the foam roller and just kind of open up the chest a little bit more. Definitely makes the movement harder, increasing the range of motion. Feels much better. You'll get a lot of progress out of it, see better strength and size gains, but you're gonna have to humble yourself and use a little bit lighter weight because, yeah, more range of motion does not always allow for the same weight to be used. It's physics. Seven and a half. So we'll go down in weight, make sure we can still stay in that kind of 8 to 12 rep range. 7 and a half, the worst number. You good? Looks like exactly what you need. So when choosing chest movements, if you can prioritize machines that converge, you're gonna get just a little bit better overall stimulus. But again, adding something like a foam roller or some sort of pad definitely can help kind of increase the efficiency of the movement and the effectiveness. One thing that we don't really talk about very often is heights and seat angles and things like that. And so really what I'm trying to think about is from a starting position, trying to keep my hands kind of around like nipple height, chest height. And then whenever I'm finishing, making sure that I'm not finishing in too much of a downward motion. So maybe needing to raise the seat a little bit higher or lower, and making sure that we're not finishing in too high of an upward motion where we can get the traps involved or start reaching through with the serratus maybe a little bit too much. So making sure we're just kind of initiating with the right muscles, finishing with the right muscles, and really just trying to keep tension in the right places the entire time. One really easy indication that you're probably taking tension out of the pecs in this case is with a fly or press motion. If you find yourself kind of collapsing or really reaching through the abdominals, you're probably shifting into some traps, shifting into maybe even like serratus or shoulders, kind of getting more of like a hunched over position with your shoulders losing that tension in the lats and the pecs. Lats being stabilizing, and then pecs of course being the main moving force producing muscle. Just some things to think about. That is a wrap for the flat press. We're gonna move on to some dips, and then a little bit of shoulders, a little bit of triceps. Trying to emphasize the pec stretch, of course, with this dip. So again, like I talked about a lot, leaning forward, kind of driving the elbows almost as if you're driving them together on the way down, and then really trying to pinch the shoulder blades back to open up the chest. But one cool thing with these prime machines is we can also emphasize and shift the peak force, peak load, peak resistance to different phases of the motion. So here I have it on 75, which means it's going to be really, really hard in that fully stretched position, middle position, and then a little bit easier. So I'm not really focusing on that peak contraction with the chest in the bottom position. I'm actually trying to overload the stretched position as much as possible. A lot of movements, but this is probably a good example because I'm giving you a bad example of it. But having the discipline to make sure you're getting to the beginning and end of every motion with good form. I think a lot of times what we see is people start to fatigue and they'll start kind of increasing the tempo or hitting a lot of like partials and things like that. And those are all good for the more experienced lifters, but people that don't know what they're doing, probably maybe save yourself some injury risk as well. But having the discipline to push yourself in the structure of the rep, the tempo of the rep, the intention of the rep, and maintaining tension, as opposed to, you know, my goal is to get 12 reps. I did 7. If I can maybe just speed up and go a little bit faster and kind of just pump through the motion a little bit, then I might be able to get to 12. Probably just decrease the weight and smooth it out a little bit. So the only isolated delt movement for today, doing the machine laterals to isolate the medial delts. Front delts are very active from all the pressing, but just like I kind of said with the dips, we're going to optimize this movement by kind of putting more load where we're strongest and a little less load where we're weakest. And so cam position on these prime smart cams is going to be 5. Again, that's going to be really hard in this bottom position, hard, medium, and then a little bit easier in that top range.
Would rather you have the arms down straight and press through your palms than press through your elbows. And no one puts back the knees and the heels towards butt. I'm okay with pressing through the palms as long as the shoulders will put here. Press through the palms. It's going to be a little bit back movement. It's raised like I want. But if you end up like pressing the elbows, then that's like leverage. I don't want the leverage. You're going to stability press.
Feels so much better than dumbbells. I'm gonna get that tattooed on me somewhere. Breathe in a way that makes you happy. So the reason why I say this movement is better than dumbbells is really just about the line of force and the amount of tension applied at different phases of the motion. So because the way our body is interacting with this machine is at the elbow level and on a dual rotating axis, it allows a force to be applied in the line of force of the muscle the entire time, meaning as we are rotating the elbow up, that force is being directly applied, and since it's rotating as opposed to a dumbbell just being straight down the entire time, you're able to maintain force in the bottom position where you are actually the strongest. And with dumbbells, it's just hanging tension. You're actually not applying any outward tension or inward tension on that medial delt in the bottom position. You just kind of are getting it to here where it starts to become difficult. And it's just really not that optimal. Great for maybe like a finishing kind of technique. Do a movement like this, do cables, other variations that are going to allow you to overload the bottom position, and then maybe finish with some dumbbells just to kind of burn it out and overload that top position where you maybe aren't as fatigued. We're gonna sneak in some cable laterals and then triceps. No, some dude came in here earlier doing CrossFit. He was doing like ring pull-ups and push-ups, then he would like run to the rower, then did like CrossFit style box jumps. It was like watching a fish out of water. It made me sad. Yeah, it feels really good. This tricep kind of crossover movement is kind of like a cable skull crusher variation, but since you're able to kind of cross the cables over, you're able to kind of navigate in a more outward and backward path. So it's kind of a little bit more elbow friendly than maybe some like easy bar or barbell skull crushers would be for some people. Good little variation if regular skull crushers are uncomfortable. You better make that shot. You're on camera. Nailed it. The camera, everyone saw it. You got to celebrate. Just pretend. Always a very unpredictable movement. Just whatever your last movement of the day is, it's just like you could feel like you could just crush it, or you could feel like it just crushes you. Today, I'm like right in between. But it also makes me curious. Like, should I go up in weight and have it crush me more, or should I just continue trying to crush it?
If I hit 12 and I feel like I could have gone on my 8 to 12 sets, if I feel like I could have gone like 2 more.
I always say if I'm in like doing an 8 to 12 set, I don't want to hit 8, but I don't want to hit 12.
Right.
I want to be like, best case scenario, I'm at 11.
Yeah.
Or like I can't go up in weight yet, but I went as hard as I could on that set.
What up,
That's
G-Thriller?
perfection. You got 4 sets, so probably just stay here and try to bang it out.
I love trying to bang it out.
Yeah, staying there was the right decision. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, fuck. We're gonna get one more set. And no matter what, it's gonna be with this weight, even if we get 0 reps. Okay, so that is a wrap for today. We'll get a little pump check and see what comes up. Okay, so little pump check. So overall, really good day. A lot of, again, upper chest priority. So incline work, incline flies, incline presses. A little sore from Saturday still, so no surprise. Some of the numbers are down. Some of the numbers are up though, so can't really complain. That's just kind of the way it happens, but we're trending in the right direction overall in terms of body composition and just general look and feel. Feeling strong, still gaining strength consistently month over month, even though we're kind of staying the same, and in fact actually kind of losing some body weight. So can't really be too mad about that. Just gonna try and keep that trend going as far as we can. And again, we got a lot of time. So December show date, we'll go through a bulk, and then late summer, probably early fall, just cutting all the way into December. That's kind of the plan right now, unless something changes, something that Nick sees that we might need to change courses of action, modify, and just kind of treat things a little differently. But that is a wrap for today. Bo Alexander, Adapt Fitness in Dallas, Texas, and thanks for watching. Bye.